Once the most powerful man in the known world, Marcus Aurelius strove to live by stoic values, seeking to maintain virtue above all. Unlike many Roman emperors, he refrained from indulging in the luxuries at his disposal, such as getting drunk on wine or enjoying the brutal spectacles in the Colosseum. His main focus was on fulfilling the role fortune had assigned him, serving humanity. In his eyes, fulfilling this duty meant disregarding the things that didn't matter or were unworthy of concern, things that are abundant in life. One of the core ideas in Stoicism, as clearly explained in Epictetus' Enchiridion, is the distinction between what is within our control and what is not. Most things, apart from our own actions, are beyond our influence. But does this imply we should renounce the world? Not necessarily. The Stoics believed in being realistic about our limited ability to change external events and argued that we unnecessarily burden ourselves when we care too much about things we can't control. Often, life hurts because we invest emotional energy in things that aren't ours to manage, allowing them to manipulate and disturb us. We blame these external forces for pulling our strings, yet we're the ones who give them that power. If we stop caring about such things, they lose their hold on us, leaving us undisturbed. For Marcus Aurelius, detaching from what he couldn't control helped him manage the heavy responsibilities and challenges of being an emperor and focus on the task he believed the gods had assigned him. For Epictetus, it was a means of achieving freedom. Others might see it as a way to focus on meaningful goals, while some may view it as the path to a more content, carefree life. When life hurts, we should ask ourselves, what are the things we need to stop caring about? And how do we do it? This video is a reflection and interpretation of Marcus Aurelius' teachings on how to care less about the unimportant. Also, be sure to check out Stoicism for Inner Peace, a book featuring my collected works on staying calm and centered in today's turbulent world. The link is in the description. Introduction. In his meditations, Marcus Aurelius often distinguishes between the present, the past, and the future. He shares valuable insights about how we misdirect our concerns, caring too much about them or in the wrong ways. For clarity, this essay will explore his thoughts on these three categories, beginning with the future. The future. Seneca famously wrote that we suffer more in imagination than in reality, suggesting that our thoughts are the primary source of our suffering. When it comes to the future, our minds often spin wild scenarios of what might happen, many of which never do. We try to prepare for possible outcomes, stressing over the unknown. Sometimes, events unfold as we expected, but in many cases, we are blindsided by unexpected twists of fortune. For example, someone may prepare for a peaceful retirement only to be diagnosed with a terminal illness just before their first day of leisure. The unpredictability of the future causes many to worry constantly, dreading both the best and worst possibilities. However, as long as these outcomes remain in the future, they are beyond our control. The future, Marcus Aurelius argued, only torments us because we allow it to exist in our minds. The future does not yet exist in reality. He believed that the weight of the present is what truly presses upon us, not the future itself. The pain we feel about the future is a product of how we think about it right now. In his meditations, Marcus Aurelius reminds us not to let the future disturb us. You will meet it, if you must, with the same reason you currently use to face the present. If we are capable of handling the present, why shouldn't we be able to handle whatever the future brings? His advice was to stay grounded in the moment, trusting that the strength we draw on now will also be there for us later. This mindset echoes the concept of a more fatty, loving one's fate, but with the added confidence that we will be able to meet any challenge that comes our way. The past. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on how quickly life passes and fades into oblivion. Like the future, the past is a domain we cannot control. It has already slipped from our grasp, and no amount of wishing or regret can change what has happened. He wrote, Man lives only in the present, in this fleeting instant. All the rest is either past and gone or not yet revealed. While our lives are limited to the present, we often dwell on the past or worry about the future, places we cannot enter or act upon. Marcus Aurelius considered the past as signifying nothing because it no longer holds sway over the present. However, we often replay past events in our minds, especially the painful ones, trying to change the unchangeable. People often say, "I wish I had done that differently," but such wishes are futile. Instead of lamenting past events, Marcus Aurelius focused on how we react to them. We may not be able to alter what has occurred, but we can control how we position ourselves in relation to those events. He wrote that instead of saying, "It's unfortunate that this happened," we should think, "It's fortunate that this happened, and I remain unharmed by it." He emphasized that it's not the events themselves that matter, but how we handle them. In his view, the past could be instructive in recognizing patterns, but dwelling on it or wishing to change it was fruitless. The present. Finally, Marcus Aurelius reminds us that the present moment is all we truly have. From the present, we can peer into the endless abyss of the past and the impenetrable darkness of the future, but only the present is within our reach. Even if we stop dwelling on the past or fretting about the future, we might still care too much about the events unfolding around us in real time. We often feel dissatisfied when things don't go as planned or when we encounter hardships. But Marcus Aurelius believed that getting upset about what life throws at us is pointless because external events are beyond our control. Only our reactions to them are within our power. Rather than resisting what is inevitable, Marcus Aurelius encouraged us to accept the natural flow of life. Just as we cannot stop wars, natural disasters, or the aging process, we cannot force life to conform to our wishes. Wasting time fighting against the course of events leads to suffering. Instead, Marcus Aurelius advised focusing on what is within our control, our choices, actions, and attitudes. He viewed adversity not as an excuse for despair but as an opportunity to practice virtue. The art of living, in his eyes, isn't about how fortunate our external circumstances are, but about how we respond to them. To conclude, Marcus Aurelius believed that we should focus on what we have rather than what we lack, but without becoming overly attached to our possessions or circumstances. The present moment, fleeting and fragile, is where we should direct our efforts, accepting life's challenges as part of the natural order.